Good afternoon. This is Gail Andersen, and this is my husband, Kirby.
Hey, everybody.
We are sitting here this afternoon just discussing how to eat healthy when you are on a plant-based diet. We started this
Eating
how many
out
years
on
ago?
a plant-based.
Eating out, okay.
I mean, you're
Eating
going to eat
out.
healthy on a plant-based diet.
Okay, you are correct. Vous avez raison. Okay, so how many years has it been that
About
we have
6.
basically? About 6 years? I don't think I was quite that far. Hello, everybody. Glad to have you on today. This is Mentoring Moments for Moms. We're discussing the health topic today. And how to eat out when you are eating a plant-based diet or a vegan. So Kirby started this about 6 years ago for health reasons. I kind of dribbled along the way, and hi again, and finally got changed that way. But the initial part of it was just crazy to think about, okay, how can we eat out? How can we do this? We're eating lots of veggies, and we're eating beans and legumes and stuff like that for our protein, and not having cheeses. So how are we going to do this? It seems so extreme to me. And the only place I could think of was eating out at salad bars and just picking and choosing, not having the meat and putting on your nuts, grains, whatever else would go with it. But tell me what you thought of first when we started
Well, the
eating
first
out.
experience that I had, I think it just becomes a big deal in your mind because everything is always based around meat or, cheeses and all those kinds of things. And so the first experience that I remember is I just went to On the Border, and I decided I'm just going to order a la carte. I was just going to order just a few things, just tell them what I want.
Exactly.
And actually I was prepared to pay a premium for that. That was just what I had in my head. So I just said, listen, all I want is just a side of rice, a side of black beans, and also just some grilled veggies. And when I got it, I had plenty of food. It tasted great. And I got the bill, and it was like
$4.
$3.69. And I went, what? And that's what, just kind of snapped me to the reality of this is not that big of a deal. And this was like 6 years ago. And the reality is that today it has changed a lot.
It has.
Most places are there. It is becoming more mainstream. There's a lot more people who are not eating meat, not eating dairy, things like that. And they can accommodate basically anything if you just let them know. It's not that big of a deal.
The funny thing is that most restaurants right now will have little significations for vegan or vegetarian. Nothing wrong with meat whatsoever, but we do get our protein from other sources because...
This is going to be a huge subject for those of you who don't know because, there's so much we can talk about. The reason why I started this is because I was diagnosed with slow-growing early-stage prostate cancer. And there's a huge amount of research right now for that and for other health reasons that a lot of animal protein, animal fat feeds that. And the best way to do it is to go as lean and as much vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, grains, those kinds of things. And I've had tremendous results for 6 years.
We have had tremendous results.
So that wasn't really meant to be the subject for this, and I've got some things on my blog at kirbyandersen.com that talk a little bit more about that. A lot of great questions you just had. Happy to answer those, but probably beyond the scope of this scope.
Definitely.
And we were just talking about so many people already know what we're doing, are interested, and a common question is
how
do you do that if you go out to eat, And that was just a few of the things we were just going to share today.
I always thought it was going to be hard enough just doing this at home and making sure I got enough food to him. But eating out was a whole new process. But that first experience at On the Border was just amazing. It's just like, okay, we're just going to tell him exactly what we want. And then it wound up being 3 sides, which were under $4. It was just crazy. Now, granted, if you're going to do stuff like that, then you have to be careful of the sauces and stuff like that. Got to be careful of the chips. We go through times where we do great. But when we're at places like that where you get free chips and salsa, hey, that's pretty good stuff. So we might eat too much of it there. But you will notice also so many of the burger places, if you look down at the bottom of the menu, you will find vegetarian or vegan burgers. It's just crazy. I've just got a few listed here. Smash Burger has one. Red Robin has a Boca Burger. There are places that have veggie or garden burgers. There are also places that make a burger with a portobello mushroom. And those mushrooms often give you a little bit of the texture and the smell of meat. So those are good. I cannot tell when we go to many of these places that it's not actual meat. It looks and smells and grills up just like a burger. Great. That is a great one.
Oh, yeah. Go to a family pizza
that?
dinner. Mine always has pizza parties. So generally the way that we do that with our pizza parties for families is we always just order one that's just pure veggie. And for me, I don't eat dairy either, so I just do it without the cheese. I just load it up with all of the veggies that I like on there. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
And generally, I end up with a lot of other people sampling my pizza just because it always looks so good. It's so colorful and everything. So that's the way that we do with the pizza. I also used to, when I was part of a church team, we would often go out to eat for lunch or whatever. And these guys were heavy carnivores, man. They really liked their meats. And so we would often go to steakhouses and things like that. It was no problem for me. I could always have a side of rice. I could have a baked potato, just plain. I could always have a steamed broccoli, something like that, and was more than satisfied. And about the only place I couldn't go was this one place, was just a barbecue place, which was, I don't think they had anything green in the whole place, but that was about it. So.
And I love this thing about getting just sides.
Oh,
what
easy.
is the restaurant right across from Target where they actually have a veggie plate that has 4 sides and you pick what they are?
You're talking Ruby Tuesday?
No, Ruby Tuesdays does that, but there's a place right next door to Bonefish. I can't remember. But they actually have a veggie plate, and they have all kinds of side things, and you pick 4 of them.
It's not uncommon.
It's delicious.
You can get a lot of those things. So really, even if you're not going completely plant-based or whatever, it is amazing today what people, they get in the mindset and they just think, you can't get what you want, and people do that. Do you want to talk about the Paris thing? Because that was the big...
in just a few minutes.
Okay.
We can't get to Paris yet.
All right.
Butter on the vegetables. Normally, I do not request that. I mean, I do not make specific, can you grill these without butter? Sometimes my husband does.
I just get either steamed, or if they're going to, stir fry it, it might be in a decent
Sauteed.
oil, or just steamed is really the safest thing. If they're going to do it in butter, I just tell them that I'm vegan. I hate the word vegan because there's so many other things associated with it, but I just tell them it's a dietary thing, and they normally will accommodate it. And
which
if you
is
just tell
amazing.
them,
Yeah, I want to go back to the pizza for just a minute. I love the pizza with no cheese, but I also love pizza with cheese. So I decided at a family event how much pizza there is. If he has a whole large with no cheese, then we can both eat that. If not, then I'm going to have to probably eat some with cheese, and I'll enjoy it anyway. I just won't eat that many pieces, maybe one. I don't have that much trouble with the dairy, but I have to really limit it. I have so many less problems, though, because I don't eat the dairy. It is amazing. And it's been the first time in my entire life that I have not had a weight problem. Seriously, I lost about 15, 20 pounds after going vegan, slowly, carefully. I wasn't trying to do it. And I will now stay within 2 to 3 pounds all the time. And this is basically the weight I was in about 9th and 10th grade. So yes, it is amazing. As far as the pizzas as well, if you have a Top That restaurant or if you have Blaze Pizza, you can make an absolutely delectable pizza just going through there and adding all their different toppings and the spices and the jalapenos and sun-dried tomatoes. We at Top That, it's almost ridiculous. Ours are piled so high, and then they bake them, and actually the people who are back there baking it say, this looks delicious, absolutely delicious. So,
but they all do it. Pizza Hut,
oh my
Domino's,
gosh,
we've had good ones at all of them.
we
And,
have. We have.
It's just a matter of just asking for it. It's
And
not that
there's
big a
still,
deal.
you know, you go to a Mexican restaurant, you can still order an entree. Have you seen research? Oh, lots and lots. He actually has a degree through Hallelujah Acres called a health minister degree, so this is why he's got so much information.
Probably
so
the best resource, just for a quick one, if you're interested in that. If you have a Netflix account, you can watch it free on streaming. It's just called, the movie is called Forks Over Knives. And it's by two world-class, highly renowned doctors who did this. And that is probably the best resource I can give you right now in just showing the clinical research behind this. Forks Over Knives, which basically is just to reference the symbolism there, is eating smart as opposed to surgery, you know, for correcting a lot of the major health issues that people are dealing with today.
Thanks for all those hearts, you guys. We appreciate that you like what we're talking about. It's just great discussing some different eating options. And even if
without
you're not
guilt.
doing this,
This isn't meant to be a guilt thing or a right or wrong. Somebody was just saying, what's wrong about this? It's not
Nothing.
wrong.
It's choices. We all have choices.
But there were health reasons, and there was reasons for it, but that doesn't mean that there's not a wrong associated with this. So
another thing at the Mexican restaurants, which is absolutely fabulous, is if you order something like you can do quesadillas and ask. You're going to have to catch that in a minute. Quesadillas and ask for no cheese. Or fajitas are absolutely unbelievable if you just get the veggie fajitas. I mean, often we will just split an order of that because it is so much food. All they're doing is taking out the little bit of meat that they've added to it. It's probably not a ton. And then you've got all the vegetables. You've got beans. You've got tortillas.
Rice.
You've got a ton of food.
You've got everything that you
a lot
need.
of
You'll
stuff.
get all the protein, all the essential amino acids that you need. And you want me to answer that question?
Yes, go ahead.
Someone just asked the question right now on what do I do for breakfast? And generally our go-to, the main thing for breakfast is we do a green smoothie. And our smoothie and our Vitamix is basically, you know, some almond milk or water, combination of it, some spinach, organic spinach, and then a banana and some berries. We normally add in some ground flaxseed and a little protein powder. Those are optional.
And some cacao,
And some
which is
cacao.
unprocessed cocoa.
Yeah, which is a
great
great source
antioxidant.
of antioxidants and minerals. And it's delicious. And that's really the main thing. And then I always have maybe a small bowl of a whole grain cereal.
And that is homemade granola.
Gail makes granola. We have several grains in it, or a piece of great whole grain toast. And with that will sustain me all morning. I won't have any cravings, won't have any energy loss, and that's pretty much my go-to breakfast.
Taryn, I love that you're using cacao for hot chocolate. It's awesome. It's hard to not encourage your family to eat the same way because you love them so much. Yes, we do want to encourage our family to eat that way, but you can't be making decisions for everybody else. You can do that for your kids, but it is difficult, especially with, you know, teens, even grade school kids.
Can I offer a
Yes.
thing on that?
Sure.
Sometimes if you just make things available and you don't force it, but give people a chance to chip away at it, it's great. Gail makes has always, the family favorite for years has always been her lasagna. And after I started eating this way, she started making me a small pan of vegetable lasagna with no cheese. And you're saying, I can't even believe that. Guys, I'll put it up against any meat lasagna with cheese. It's unbelievable. And in any case, she would always make a little pan of that and then the regular one for everybody else. Well, everybody kind of started messing around the creek bank and fell in, and they would dip and they would try it, and now that's all she makes is the vegetable, because that's what everybody preferred. The other example that I had is when I worked at a camp. We had always had a salad bar, but I had the chef start adding spinach to it instead of just like iceberg lettuce, which is like there's
no nutrition.
I mean, it might as well be packing peanuts, you know. And so there's my judgment for the day. But in any case, the spinach, and people would walk by for the first while and just kind of look at it. And next thing you know, he's having to order spinach like crazy because everybody is just chipping away at it. So sometimes I think it's just a matter of making things available and letting people try it and developing their own taste.
And even if you do not like cooked spinach, there is nothing about fresh spinach that you're going to not like. I mean, there's no real bad taste or anything. It's just like any other kind.
You don't even really, even if you throw it in the smoothie,
like
you
that.
don't even
Yes,
taste it.
You don't at all. That's how we do it with our grandkids. We throw in some spinach
They
and some
love it.
carrots, and they drink it all day long. The recipe for lasagna I actually did on a scope on Monday. So go back and look at that. That is simple lasagna for the busy mom. I'm actually doing it, making it on there, and talking through the princess juice. How cute. That's right. You're going to be much more beautiful if you drink that smoothie with all those veggies in it. Also, as far as the granola and the smoothie recipe, I will put those on YouTube in the notes or description. I'll put links there when I put this video on YouTube. All the past Periscopes I've done are on YouTube. Most of the ones since the end of May are on Periscope, but the ones before that are on YouTube. I love the lasagna, made it that night. Perfect. And I love it for meals, Mom. It made it so much easier for me having a named night every single night. Back then we ate a lot of eggs, so we had an egg night. There was some kind of breakfast food that we had, either eggs or pancakes or something like that. We had a chicken night because we ate chicken back then. We had
We must have a vegetarian out there. We got hearts going off the chart here.
I love it. It could be somebody who's very close geographically to us. As far as eating out at an Italian restaurant, of course you can do the pizza with no cheese. You can say light cheese. You can do half the pizza with cheese and half without. But there's great veggie dishes with pasta. You know, pasta is a grain you can use. You may not necessarily get a whole grain pasta at a restaurant, but that's doing a lot better if you go ahead and cut out the meat there. Love it. My 4-year-old loves to play what day it is based on what we're doing. Very good.
You know, a lot of mainly a lot of restaurants too, has kind of expanded our palate a little bit. We continue to try other ethnic foods, which has been fantastic.
And note, I have never been one to try other foods.
Never been adventurous.
Never. I mean, it took me till I was 21 years old and waitressing at a resort to try any kind of egg salad, chicken salad, anything with mayonnaise. I mean, I was ridiculous.
So I bring home Ethiopian this week,
yes.
And she finishes all the leftovers. So
and Thai is delicious. We had Thai last night. Thai
Indian,
green curry.
Lebanese.
Yeah.
Lebanese is like my favorite.
It is amazing. It's just veggies, and they have such great spices, and it just changes what you're eating so that everything doesn't taste the same. When you're at Italian restaurants, I do want to mention, be careful of the white sauce, because I feel like that's pretty fatty, and you might want to watch that anyway. It doesn't mean you're eating totally healthy just because you're having Alfredo sauce or something like that. Somebody asked a question about eggs. No, we do not eat eggs. When I bake, I use an egg replacer, which is 1 tablespoon of ground flax and 3 tablespoons of water. Kind of mix it up a little with a fork, put it in the refrigerator for at least 15 minutes. Yes, I do like to prep 1 day a week. And that's what I do usually on Sunday. I make a whole bunch of the things that I need, and I often will make up a big soup or a big batch of something that we'll eat on, since we eat both lunch and dinner at home every day. There's a lot of meals we're eating, so we can go through something rather quickly. But as far as all my veggies, I prep those on Sunday, put them in the salad box. I actually show you that on the Scope About Lasagna, which was this Monday. So
Can I answer that question on ethnic?
Yes.
So someone just asked, where do we find these ethnic dishes locally? Here's my big secret that I thought everybody knows about, but of course, why would you? Anyway, the thing when I started traveling a little bit, and this is what I was alluding to earlier.
Paris.
When we went to Paris, everybody told us, oh my gosh, you're not going to be able to eat over in Paris for a week. I mean, it's all, eggs and butter and cream and, meats and everything else. And we ate like kings over there. And here's the little go-to secret. If you really want to know for your area, your city, is just download the app called, or go online to Happy Cow. happycow.com, and then there's an app for Happy Cow. On this is for a worldwide app to eat anywhere, and it's one of those apps where it can locate you and you can find places that serve vegetarian or vegan options in your area. It shows grocery stores or restaurants or whatever. This is unbelievable. You will find stuff in your own backyard you didn't even realize
hole
was
in the
there.
wall places that have very good food.
Just killer places.
What was the Papa Ganoush?
Papa Ganoush here in Tulsa.
And is that Mediterranean?
It was Mediterranean, and I get there, and it's actually the Lebanese, and it was the most incredible food that I have had in a long time. And so again, Happy Cow. That's just that's a great little resource just to find some different options.
Somehow it seems when you're ordering vegetables, they are giving you a multitude of food.
Oh my gosh.
So much. I mean, sometimes I'll get a side of broccoli and I'll say, honey, you got to split this with me. It's too much. You know, I ordered some potato with it and then I had that. I can't eat it all. And then cost-wise, it's so much less. And if you are nice to your waiters and just kind of explain to them, would you be able to do this? And then make sure you're tipping at a decent amount. Like the first time we were at On the Border, and each of our meals, because we ordered sides, was only $3.90 or something like that.
Yeah.
We just basically tipped, I think, 50%, because we wanted to be able to bless the waiter and not make it a disadvantage that we had ordered something special.
Yeah.
I eat some dairy, but I have changed completely from what I used to. I used to eat a ton of dairy. We lived in Wisconsin. I loved milk. I loved cheese. I loved yogurt. I loved ice cream. I used to eat a lot of that stuff. And the funniest thing is, I had this constant clearing of my throat. I had phlegm in my throat, and my mom and dad always had it, so I just thought there was nothing.
I could always locate her in the store when I couldn't find her because I could hear this. That's the way I locate her.
It was constant. So after we quit dairy, suddenly that disappeared. All kinds of things just disappeared at that point. So yes, it's very crazy. I never have trouble with clearing my throat.
One of the things, we maybe should have started with this, and maybe let's do another one. Let's do one on just some basics of how you can take some steps towards healthier eating, and we could provide some of those that other resource that I have. Would that be a good idea?
That's great. We will probably have to do it either a couple. You know someone with the throat clearing. Great. Probably not next week, but the week after. Next week we are talking some.
That's fine.
Marriage things.
Well, we'll put it on the short term.
Talk again
about eggs.
Why we're not dairy. Why we're not eating dairy.
Oh, and
because it's plant.
That one said eggs.
Basically,
there was another one on why we don't eat eggs too. Basically,
it's an animal product.
Yeah, that was just it. And again, it started with a health issue with me with slow growing prostate cancer, and the whole research behind this was low-fat, high-fiber diet. And the best way to do that was to cut out animal. And some of the other things that you can see, again, that movie Forks Over Knives on Netflix will begin to show some of the other studies that worldwide of how that can actually not only slow down but actually reverse a lot of these diseases. And certainly the ones like type 2 diabetes, just general obesity, high blood pressure, a lot of those things can be reversed and reversed quickly with just some changes in just some of the things that we're eating today.
Yes.
So that's a huge subject, and again, when you have, the bigger the health concern, the bigger the change that you had to make. So it was just easier. I just cut out anything that came from an animal, and that was it. And so that's why I don't eat eggs or dairy or those kind of things. But this is not meant to be, a thing.
Telling everybody else they have to do that.
Yeah. But there are some things that if you want to at least take steps, here's the thing: is that we probably eat too many of a lot of those things, and those kind of foods today are not the same as what they used to be either.
Absolutely. So let me just make a mention here for Taryn about the cheese. One, I would suggest that you not have just straight cheese available for her to snack on. At least get away from that straight thing. Two, if you are doing it in dishes, back off on the cheese. Just don't put as much in there. Just make sure that cheese is not a mainstay of her or your diet. Don't label it as being terrible, but just back off. And the third thing is replace. My husband always says, don't eliminate something, but replace. What can you replace that with that would help them? I actually was going to try some non-dairy cheese. I don't know why I'm going to make this, but I have this recipe with nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast can kind of act like cheese in a recipe. So I was going to try this cheese sauce just to see what it was like. But normally we just don't do cheese.
Yeah, most of us, most of the time our mind just really recoils when we say, I'm not going to eat this anymore, and you just start rebelling inside. And if you just find a great substitute, you don't miss it, and you probably end up enjoying it even more.
Yeah, homemade vegan Parmesan. That sounds delicious. I'm going to get that recipe from you. Okay, I do want to finish off by just letting you know what happened with my husband and the slow growing prostate cancer. Yeah, I feel like it's, I didn't address gluten. Okay, he's been at this for about 7 years. And
Coming up on 6 years.
Well, not 7? Okay. In the very beginning, when he made the eating changes, he had drastic changes in all of his health. As he said, cholesterol, blood pressure,
90 days.
Yeah, weight loss. Yeah, it was crazy. And his doctor was just thrilled. And his prostate, which is the level that they measure your prostate cancer, PSA, was actually going down. Now, it kind of crept up just because of stress and other things like that. But the next thing that we did was add an oil into his routine, and that was DDR Prime through doTERRA. That he did only half a dose of what they were suggesting, and that brought his PSA back down to basically where he started. So here we are, 6 years, yes, naturally, 6 years from when he was diagnosed, and his PSA is at the same level that it was.
I'm statistically
when he was
flat
yes.
as far as any growth. My urologist, I just saw him, he has said he doesn't have any other patients like me.
Yes, he also refers some of his patients to Kirby. Boy, I didn't do this right today. Okay, as far as gluten, we don't really have an issue with it, especially if we're eating breads that don't have preservatives. We're fine with that. It's funny, I used to have a lot of trouble with bread, and I have no trouble at all as long as I'm eating breads that are not off the regular grocery shelf, but from a bakery. We do have some things that we make that are gluten-free just because they happen to be gluten-free, great snacks and treats. And
gluten-free is a buzzword today,
yes.
And not everybody has celiac disease. In fact, there's only very few people. However, a lot of people have sensitivities to grains right now. And here again, what I said earlier, just even a thing like wheat, which is a great grain, a lot of our wheats today are not the same as what they used to be because they've either been genetically modified or in the way that they are processed. There's other things involved, and people can develop sensitivities to those things. So it's not necessarily that a non-gluten diet is the cure-all, or that we weren't made to have it. It's just that it's not the same as what it used to be, and so you kind of got to follow your body. And if you do have a sensitivity, then but we don't throw out we don't eat gluten-free just because that's some big thing.
Right. So we probably should cut this off. Don't want it to be too long for you, but thank you for listening. This is Mentoring Moments for Moms. I'm Gail Andersen and my husband Kirby, and we hope you have an unbelievably awesome weekend. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you next week.